Okay, hey everybody. Got Fisto from He-Man for today. Gonna be knocking this one out, and then I got a special right after for uh, Brant Fowler's The Last Ember, and I'm gonna be doing a sketch card for that one as well. So a special session right after this, so that you guys will be able to see that. Hey Jay, how's it going, man? I'm gonna share this over with the page real quick, so everybody can catch on that follows me from there. And we will go right into this. So bear with me just a second. Hey, we're live. Yay. All right. Okay, there we go. And now I will get right into this. As I said, so this is one of the masters that was last added with Jitsu and a couple of others right at the end of the series. And this dude is one of my favorites of the end of the Masters run. Uh, Heavy handed, been working on the other stuff all day. Uh, anyway, this dude is just phenomenal in the way that he comes off because he's such an obscure character in the way that you don't really get a history of him, but he's one of those type of characters that you can connect with and bond with really easy because he has high morals and wears his emotions on his sleeve, so you can see exactly what he's about right off the bat. And I just found that incredibly cool that someone could walk in and have such a demeanor, even for a cartoon and animated character. It just cracked me up to no end to figure that out later in years. But to have a charisma in a personality derived from something that is completely fictional and doesn't really exist, that's something people strive for every day of their lives. And to figure that out for an animated character and have a character come across and be loved that much is just crazy. And this guy only appeared in a few of the cartoons. He didn't appear in many. And that's just one of those things where it comes across. The easiest way to explain it is think of your favorite comic book character and the guy, the hero or heroine that you followed for years on end. Or if you're if you're a villain junkie, which some of us are, that's okay too, because without good villains, you don't have good contrast for the heroes, But think about your favorites and think about how you build that rapport with them over a period of time. And this guy came in and he was just there, man. I mean, he was just literally there. Because if I remember right, I might be incorrect about this, but if I remember right, the first episode he appeared in, he just jammed a couple of the He-Man Rogue Gallery because of the fact that he was such a powerhouse and just started thumping through them. Of course, at this point, though, they did have a squadron of the Masters of the Universe that they actually called on to be the guardians of the of Eternia and the kingdom and whatnot by this point. But this dude was just all over it, man. It was a great character, great character, and he saved Tila, I believe it was. I think she got jumped while out with Adam, and he couldn't change. So the Masters had to come save him because he couldn't change or risk revealing himself. And it was Fisto and Men at Arms that actually made the day, I believe it was. They made the quest and saved the day and whatnot. But I would have to go through and check just to see, firsthand exactly what that is, because I don't have that tight of a memory on them. I'm not a stickler to where I know every episode and whatnot, but I believe when he appeared, that's what ended up happening, is he was the first guy there on scene and helped them out of that situation. which is always cool to have a hero, you know, in your back pocket like that just pops out of the woodwork and says, you know, hey, I'm here. Da, 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 da. Who do you need kicked? So, but that's where we're at, you know. Um, and he also had some seasoning on him, you know, some weathering on him. And this is a guy that was a little bit older than most, you know, like Men at Arms. He was a character that was a little bit older and a little more experienced, as it were. And I always found that really cool too, to respect the guard of characters and experience, where, you know, not everybody was 20 years old and at their prime and, you know, whatnot, and knew everything. It was some people came along in later years and got their seasoning, as it were. And I like characters like that, because I don't like it to believe, you know, to be unbelievable, even with science fiction or, you know, animation or whatever it is. I don't like it to be to where it's so far-fetched you can't connect with the character, because if you don't, you know, it's dead in the water where it is. But there's a lot of these characters that didn't resonate in that way. Many Faces was one of them. I really dug that character, but he was not a fan favorite. He was one of the worst characters they had because of the fact that they never developed him. If they'd have given a backstory for him, I think he would have been a lot better character. But they brought this guy in, and, you know, he was honor guard and whatnot right off the bat, man. I mean, he was just there, which I really enjoyed that. Knocking this out real quick here. Trying to cut in a little more of that beard. I want it to look a little more rustic than that. Yeah, there we go. I'm going to give him more of a boxer's type nose too. Like he's been, you know, he's seen a bout or two. And has a little more dent and ding type of type of feature. That's what I call guys that are scarred up, and you know, that have a little bit more wear and tear on them. Dent and ding. And that's a great way to be, because that, you know, those dents and dings, you know what that means? Experience. Grade A, down to earth, real experience. I know I'm moving this one kind of fast paced here, but I'm trying to get as much of this into as possible, because I've got this other card coming up right after this one. Not that I want to rush you guys off for any means. It's just that I want to get that done for Brant so he can get his promotion going on, because he's got his Kickstarter running right now, and I know exactly how that feels, because I'm about to be running one for the Lone Rider book, which I've been waiting to do, and finally, due to a few holdups here and there, I got that all going on, and I'm going to show you guys at the end of this card session one of the pages that I'm coloring currently. It's not the first page, but it will do for showing you guys finally where the book's at, and how we're going to go about handling it and whatnot. Because I was told in the beginning that, I was told in the beginning that there was a little bit of a challenge going on, because there were a bunch of people saying that old school coloring by hand could not be done and still be in a successful comic book. It would not make a successful comic book, period. I was like, really? Okay. Which I know is just a complete farce, because of the fact that there are so many people involved out there doing hand coloring. Most of the books from Europe are hand colored. most of the books from Asia are painted. They don't do a lot of digital work over there. I mean, they do digital work, but they don't do a lot of digital work as a lockout medium to where it's nothing but. Before I get into this too much, I'm going to skip around here and get back to this gauntlet because I want to rib that thing out. Just kind of add in these cool little details here. But as I was saying, though, they tend to think that, these styles don't exist anymore, and that's not true. If you want to color your comic book however you want to. If you want to make it black and white, make it black and white. To say that they don't sell is ridiculous because there's a fan base for pretty much everything. And, there's a lot of comic book creators that do just black and white books or just hand-colored books. And I see it all the time. And there's a lot of people out there that just go, well, I don't want to do that. That doesn't work. And, nobody buys if it's black and white. Not true. Just look at pretty much every manga digest out there at the bookstore. They're all black and white. You'll see one, like maybe one in a blue moon, you'll see one that's colored a little bit. And that's probably going to be Dragon Ball Z because that's just the format that was exposed in America, and that's the way it come out. The way it had come out in the comics and the cartoons. So, I mean, you'll see spot color on that one. But other than that, though, you won't see a lot of that because everybody else is black and white. Bleach, for example, is one of my favorite series, and it's black and white. Yu-Gi-Oh! Was originally black and white. It was a comic. It appeared in the Shogun manga magazine, the monthly, which was a collective of the mixed magazines and comics. I loved that book. I wish they still made it. I don't think they make it anymore, but I haven't. If they do, I haven't seen it in probably at least 6 years, 7 years. I might be mistaken by that, but anyway. But yeah, if you guys are going to do your comic books, get in there and do them, man. Stop playing, because I hear a lot of people complaining about that. I can't do my comic because I can't afford coloring. I'm sorry, that means you're not looking hard enough. Because I guarantee you there's a colorist out there that's hungry enough to help you. So, you just haven't found them yet. You got a partner out there somewhere. I swap and trade to help the industry all the time. I will trade labor for labor just to get stuff out there. I'll pencil or ink a book here, color a book there, that kind of thing to get what I need from someone that I may like the style of for a project I've got going. Don't be afraid to ask. The worst they can say is no. And if they do, that's okay. Move on. Don't argue it. Don't make them feel bad. Don't guilt them. Just move on. Move on. Because I guarantee you that it's just like the old adage says, for every 10 no's you get, you'll get one yes. So go for it. You'll find the right person eventually to get it done if you can't do it yourself. But I say go for it. And I'm doing it all. This Lone Rider book specifically, I will have written this one. I will have written, done the pencil breakdowns, the layouts, and done the rough pencils. And then because I was working on another book at the time, George was working on finished pencils for me, and he's no longer with me. So it'll be one of those things where I will be doing pretty much everything in the next, at least for the foreseeable future of the next 3 issues. But on this one, I wrote it, broke down the pencils, did the primary pencils and the layouts. He did the pencil work. I went in and inked it. Now I'm coloring it, and then I've already got it lettered from the black and white. So I will be doing a lot on that one. And there's a reason why. Because I wanted to set the tone of this book for the Firestorm universe. I just wanted to make sure that because I have a vision for this universe, and I want to make sure that all the stuff that I'm doing is uniform and in sync for what I'm doing on the next step. And, a lot of people have said, well, you're doing with Marvel and Disney in the movies what they did in the movies, you're doing in the comics. And I was like, no. My universe is standalone, and it's completely on its own. And I was doing this way before they started that. But it's just been a long, hard process. Every time that I get one book ready to go, someone or something happens, and I end up getting pushed back a month or 2 or 5 months or 6 months or whatever. And, with marketing going on and business going on, I haven't put as much time and effort into it as I wanted. And that was the big thing that I had to do, is I had to step up my game, because I wasn't doing as much in comics as I wanted to because of marketing clients and things like that. And I've cut down a lot of that stuff and started doing my own material. It's a lot different. So if you want to make your comic book, do whatever you need to do to make it done, And if you have to do it over a longer period of time, put more together and put a couple of issues together and do it as a graphic novel and ship it out there and just say it's a graphic novel from Jump Street. And don't worry about it, because it's going to go trades anyway. In the marketing age we have right now for comics, this is the way all magazine materials are going to go in the next 5 to 10 years, period. Because it's going to be almost impossible, unless you're a big company making a name for yourself and really give it a full force go. Most independents are going to have to go digital first and then print second. And the way to do that is collect your trades. Go for 3 to 5 comic books. Put out 3 to 5 comic books monthly as an issue. Put them out every month as an issue in a digital comic book. And then when you have your e-comics built up, you put in a print to trade graphic novel style. Or you can also do another trade value, which I'm huge about right now, which is manga style. Go black and white. Take the digital, take the digital original version and cut it back to black and white and put it out as a pocket digest, collecting those, and make a series of those things. Because that's how a lot of these guys are making money out of Japan right now, because they didn't get paid a lot up front. What they get their money from is the back end sales and the collected art trades, and they're the ones producing those out through the publishers. So that's how they get paid on the back end. So they don't get a lot of the royalties off the front, because that's where the comic books come in for the publication and for the venues that they appear in. And then once you get in there, they collect all of their overhead back, and then you start getting profit from the royalties. It's a little bit different system over there. So, it's just all a matter of opinion and how you want to do it too. But there's a lot going on to where you really want to think about how you're doing your comics over the next 5 to 10 years as a business plan if you want to get into comics, because you got to think about that. That's how longevity works in business. And unfortunately, a lot of creators don't think about that at all. They go, well, I made a Kickstarter, I got my book out, and it's awesome, and it's a beautiful comic book, it's a beautiful day. But then they don't stop to think, how am I going to produce issue 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 25, 36, 49 on out to make a business of this. Well, I just wanted to get this one out right now. And if anybody says that, good luck. And I appreciate it. I understand you wanted to get through the one comic book, but you're not, you're doing it as a hobby at that point. You're not doing it as a business. And I'll call you out on it. It's okay. I can do that. But if you really want to say you're a comic creator, you got to publish regularly. And that's where I fell short for a little bit until I got my head in the game to do it full time. And once I decided to do that, man, everything changed. Everything changed. When I started looking at comics like I did my marketing, it was totally 180 in regard to how it came off. So, it was a game changer. I'm just kind of adding in here. Add on that knuckle curve where the bone turns a little bit, flesh turns a little bit. Gonna add on a little chink in the armor. Just a little chink chink. Just a little ching in the armor. Chink, 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 chink. Okay. I was saying that. Somebody misinterpret that and it'll be bad. Oh, man. That would suck. There's always got to be somebody. Okay, I think we've got that. I just want to break this down just a little more because I want it to look a little more organic, like it's actually attached. I don't want them to look like action figure head, where they look like they've got the hair isn't attached kind of thing. I hate that helmet hair. Everybody used to draw Harry Osborn like that in the Spider-Man series. Did you guys ever notice that? They would draw Harry Osborn with the ripple hair effect, and they would put it down on here, and it would just be like, boom, and then it'd be the ripple, the black blobby ripple stuff. I don't know. I don't think I'm a fan of that. I really don't. Alrighty. I think we have this. The reason I put his hair like that, by the way, just so you know, I did put his hair like that on purpose with the lopsa thing going on because I wanted to curve it out, and I didn't. And I was just making fun of the helmet hair rage, and there we go. I wanted it to look like it'd been smashed or is in motion from where he's swinging forward. I wanted to push it that way a little bit because his hair was always in motion. So that was the reason for that. Just to let you guys know. So he's not lopsided. His head's not jacked. Because I see some people and they always ask me, they go, hey, man, his hair's messed up. No, it's not. It's motion. It's motion. Okay. All right. With that said, that is Fisto from the Masters of the Universe. And just so you guys can see, I got stuff sliding down the desk here. Just so you can see, this isn't the first page, but it will work. These are the rough pencils because I told you I was going to color this by hand. So what I did was I used different variations of colored pencils and gave it a 1970s comic book, 1980s animation look. And that's what I wanted. And as you can see in this panel, this is more of the finished. This is a work in progress, so it's not going to be exact. But this is more of the blended colored pencil. And, more like this one, you'll see it looks less gritty than this down here where I just did the figure here and I haven't blended all of this yet. I mean, you can see the difference in the two oranges, how smooth that is versus that. That's where we're at with that. But this is Lone Rider. This is where it's going to come up. It is a steampunk, cyberpunk, future setting Western comic book, and it's going to be awesome. I'm really enjoying it. I've got a few issues set up, so we're ready to go. And I've also got another big one. My webcomic is finally coming together. That's cool. The how-to stuff is finally coming out. I'm just digging this to no end. But I have to wait till this weekend to start that because Facebook has been having issues because of everybody doing lives and all their fickle updates right now. So we're waiting on that, and I've got some recording stuff going on outside of that so that we can put all that on YouTube without it breaking up. So with this one said, I'm going to start doing one of the bigger pieces tomorrow. I haven't decided if it's going to be, I think I'm going to do a trio of the women. I think it's going to be Evelyn, Tila, and the Sorceress. Also, I'm thinking of doing a dual piece where He-Man is holding up the sword in front of Castle Grayskull, and then we have Skeletor in front of Snake Mountain. So we'll see. I'm thinking that's the way I'm going to go with this one. But anyway, you guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I'll be right back in a few minutes here for the next session. I'm going to be doing a quick one for a sketch card for Brant on The Last Ember. You guys check that book out. I'm not endorsing it. I'm not paid to speak about it. I'm not doing anything. He's just a really cool guy, and I wanted to help back with the community, and I offered to do it. So here we go. Catch you guys later. Thank you.